everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of Spill the RT. My name is Amy B. Shanahan, and I'm here with Josh Stein. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Hello, David Attenborough. How are you doing today?
David Attenborough. I do not have the intellect of David Attenborough.
I know, but you sound like you're trying to.
No. That is not an accent that I will try to take on, I'm afraid. I will not succeed in that attempt.
It was all very posh nonetheless.
It was nice. I love David Attenborough, though. He's fun, and he's very interesting. He puts me to sleep. In the best way possible.
Yeah, that's why we don't want to use that again on the podcast. Let's not use that voice again, okay?
All right, okay. You want me to just start off the episode as I usually do, screaming into the microphone?
Scream into the void like all the rest of us.
I thought that perhaps I'd change my approach today, Josh, because, when I go to listen back to myself, and the first thing I hear when I go onto an episode, and it's like, hello, everyone, and welcome to the episode, whatever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Eamon, take a fucking chill pill, right?
No. We love when you add all kinds of crazy noise. Anyhow, hello, folks. How are you all doing?
Very good. We're all good. We have a very special guest on today, and we'll bring her on just in one moment. However, before we do, we're going to just do a quick roundup of what's coming up on today's show. Josh, where are we heading?
Okay, so this week, a huge art find, literally from the trash to a museum. An unknown female figure was found in a well-known Picasso painting from the Blue period. You will not believe how much a Stradivarius can now sell for. And on the flip side, life under religious intolerance and stupidity, it only gets better. But we rounded out where Dame Edna had so much bank, it's unbelievable how much that person's estate ends up selling for. All that and a brand new guest are up next as we spill the RT.
Oh yeah, baby.
You step on my intro. Nice. You make me do the intros and then you step on it. Well done.
Well, would you rather me do the intros?
No, not.
That's your thing. That's your thing now, isn't it? See, I don't want to step on your thing. I didn't step on it. I just neatly edged in. Like trying to colour in between the lines as a 4-year-old. I was never one for that, though. I didn't like colouring in between the lines. I felt like somebody was telling me what to do, and I'm like, I'm not here for that. No.
I want to point out for the record, folks, the last thing he said before we started to tape was, we're going to try to make this less than 30 minutes. And all he's done is turn the intro into nothing but insanity. How about we welcome on our guest? Shall we do that?
Let's bring them on. Okay, please welcome Amy Devlin. Come on down. Hello, Amy. Oh, she's gone. And
Hi.
There she is. What a swing into frame, Amy.
She's like, you took too long. I'm gone. It's over.
Welcome to the show, Amy. You are our 36th episode guest, and we are very excited to have you on. We will talk about all of your work and what you're up to at the moment and all things art related when it comes to you and all of that after we spill some tea on our stories this week. So, Josh, without further ado, where are we going to first?
We go off, I guess, we start with San Francisco, but we end up in Paris, I guess is the way that works.
Paris?
For some reason, no one knows. They still haven't figured out how this happened, but 48 artworks just showed up on a bench in San Francisco a couple years ago. It just literally
whoever left them there, do you think they went home and was like, I feel like I forgot something?
I left it behind. What was that?
Shit,
I left the cooker on.
I didn't leave it on the. I didn't put them down somewhere, did I?
Again, no idea, but a very famous artist, very well-known artist, and guess what? They're all off to a museum in Paris now. Yes. Like a museum literally just gobbled them up and said, we want all of these. So they're thinking perhaps because they're trying to trace it, right? Like this person died a long time ago, but maybe they had relatives that were in San Francisco, and then like maybe the relatives died, and then so then maybe the storage unit, and then someone just decided, fuck it, I don't want this, and then they just left it on the side of the street. Honestly, no one seems to know. But we said every time we have one of these art finds, the key thing is keep looking, folks, because you never know what you're going to find.
No. I wonder if I left some of my artworks on, like, the bench in St. Pancras here in London, that they might pick them up and give me my own exhibition for free. That'd be cool. In Paris. I wouldn't mind if it's in Paris. That would be good.
If you leave something unattended in Belfast, it's a bit
It's a bit sus.
People tend to look at it side eye, being like,
There's a whole other thing going on there.
But yeah, it depends on where you find it, right? There is an artist that does this. This is called art abandonment. It is a practice, a current practice that artists do follow. So there's a guy who does this. He wraps them like it's a present, and then he sticks it up someplace, and then he lets people know that he's done a drop. And then his social media just scrum to be the first person to find it and take it. Oh. I just like to give my art away. I don't like to do it that way myself, but there is something very kind of liberating about making art and then just letting it go rather than saying, oh, I'm going to hold on to it. And then I end up with hundreds and hundreds of pieces. And it's just easier all around just to give it away. Mm-hmm. But 48 in one particular spot like that, and these are paintings, right? So it's a lot.
Heavy as well. Heavy to put in a suitcase.
Yeah, you had to actually schlep it over there in some way, right? Like it's not, it wasn't left on a street. Like it was left on a bench. So it's just kind of weird. Yeah. But that's what we always say with the art find. You never know what you're going to find. That's why you got to keep looking. Bump.
And that's that tea spills. Excellent story, Josh. I love that. Okay, cool. So now we're bringing x-rays into the museums now to find out what's hidden behind all of these different layers of paintings. Yeah. And what did they find?
This is pretty cool. So this is a well-known painting done during Picasso's blue period. For those that are unfamiliar, Picasso had a friend who died, and it set off like a 3.5-year era of depression for him. And he basically painted everything in blue tones, all different kinds of paintings. And the other part of it was Picasso, when he was young, obviously had no money, like most of us who are artists today, and he would like repaint over things. Sometimes he burned his canvases, and that was the fire that kept him warm. I shit you not. But in this case, this is like a well-known painting that has been seen now for like 100 years, and they finally did an X-ray of it, and sure enough, underneath there's a whole other painting that at least you can see on the X-ray. Like you've got it up on the screen.
You can see it there on the right, particularly in the grey, and I just show you this next slide where this is the X-ray that they did in order to see what was behind the front image. So I thought that was quite cool. And actually, the X-ray itself, I think, is even more interesting than the painting.
Yeah.
Did I say that out loud?
I was my immediate reaction was like, wow, that's like the Da Vinci Code, right?
Yeah.
Because this whole scene of like Ian McKellen, like showing, well, there's obviously the book as well, but about how like Mary Magdalene is actually like part of the painting and like.
Well, I think it happens a couple different ways. There's some people that deliberately put in little Easter eggs, right? Mm-hmm. Like they paint in a little dog that you find finally by staring at it too long. But something like this, I think, is interesting because it speaks more to the way art actually evolves for most actual makers, right? Mm-hmm. I think people who aren't creative see the finished product and are never part of the actual process of going from blank whatever to the finished product. And pieces evolve. I have some pieces that have taken 10 years before I could actually figure out what I was going to do with them. And so to me, this is exactly how artists actually work. And so it's a confirmation that what we do as artists is the same thing that the artists of the past have also done.
I love the second piece, though, the one that's actually not real, because it looks like she's whispering into his ear as he rolls up his cigarette saying, I wonder what you'd want to do later. Interesting. Literally. I love it anyway. I think it's great. It has elevated the image, I think, in its findings.
Well, the background of that image is the casket of the dead friend, right? So everything that was painted during the blue period was either like depressive or particularly closer to when he actually died, it was capturing all the people that were coming in to hang out with the dead friend. Okay. So, because this is an artist circle, right? This is Paris. This is like the turn of the century, a very different kind of world than I think people think of when we talk about Picasso today. He was starving. He was poor, right? Living in a garret, as it was called then, right? Literally burning canvases to stay warm. I think most artists would be like, really? That's how bad it was? But it's like something out of Wisnall and I. Bring the shed. If you can't find anything in the shed, bring the shed. We'll burn that.
Well, I mean,
right?
They could have unstretched the canvas and just used the canvas frame. At least preserve the painting. Use the wood, and then at least you'd get some extra warmth from that kindling. It'd be good. It'd be nice and warm. Very toasty. I guess
it depends on how hungry you've ever been. I have been very, very hungry at times in my life, and so like if I were hungry and cold, I probably would burn even my own paintings. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I can always paint them again.
Start with the wood and then add in the canvas afterwards. preserve your. Maybe you could sell the painting for a few pounds, and get yourself a nice little bit of, I don't know, spuds. Get some potatoes.
This is 2025. You take a picture of it anyway, and then you can get rid of it.
Ah, yeah, exactly. Be great.
I'm actually in the process. At the moment, I'm sort of reworking works that I had from like my time in university.
Yeah,
I'm just sort of going through them and then sort of shredding them and remaking them, because I feel like obviously my style from then to now has evolved.
Right.
So I think I'm just constantly trying to rework it and just make it my own.
Well, I
feeling
think
like where I am now to when I was then.
There's no wrong way into this, right? Some artists are much more interested in kind of preserving the continuity of their path, and other artists, I think, are more interested in constantly being in the now, and anything that was in the past can be reused and refound again. And there's a kind of beauty to that, right? It's kind of like a giant Nick Cave sculpture, but it's your own work over time as it evolves. And I think that's really cool.
I think it's cool too.
But it doesn't surprise me that we would find things like this in the nooks and crannies, because artists, right? It's not black or white. There's always a process of movement where you have to figure out what you're trying to do and what's actually going to happen.
I wonder, did they find out the distance between when he did the painting of the woman and when he did the painting of the man?
I don't think they've determined that as of yet. I mean, it's obviously the same period of time, but beyond being able to track it down to like about a 2 to 3 year period, I don't think they can refine it down.
Yeah. But even so,
it wasn't like a bad breakup, was it? Where he painted this woman, and it's the ultimate fuck you, just
done to me.
Erase. Women erased from art history.
See that, folks? Even Picasso. I don't think that's like not an unknown fact when it comes to Picasso.
No.
I don't want to look at her mug anymore. That's it.
Notorious for being really nice and respectful to women. Yeah.
Where's the paint strippers?
He went into a 4-year blue funk over the death of a fellow guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know that we're talking about the staunchest of feminists here.
Well, maybe he realized that it wasn't the women that he was going for anymore, and so it was like, I just need to erase this part of my life. This was not true to who I really was. I was just living in the Nile at that point. Anyway,
he was living in Egypt?
Yeah. Living in the Nile. In denial, Josh. Do you get it? Oh, dear God.
That's why I said living in Egypt.
Okay, moving swiftly along.
Jump back 15 seconds there. All right. So how much do you think a Stradivarius is worth?
It's a very expensive fire if you burn this wood, I tell you.
They go up for auction so very rarely, right? And so it's hard to know, like, how much is a Stradivarius actually worth? Well, guess what?
What is the difference between that violin and a violin you'll pick up at your local
music shop?
Oh
my God! Whoa! Completely.
Oh dear! There is a can of worms you might not want to open, Amy.
That's like asking about a 50. That's like asking about a 59 Fender. There's a reason why.
I don't know what that is.
That's a guitar.
That's a guitar. Oh God! This episode has been cancelled. Oh dear.
Anyhow,
you guys.
So the Stradivarii are special because there was what was called a mini ice age that happened while just before to the forests that he was pulling wood from, and so it changed the texture and grain of the wood, and so you get a timbre out of these instruments that sound like nothing else that's ever been produced. It can't really be reproduced, and so that's why these are so special. And so one comes up for 11.3 million, and then with the additional fees, it's like 12 million. Euros or whatever it was.
Did someone have
endangered trees?
Mm-hmm. Say that again.
It was made from endangered trees.
Well, I wouldn't say they were endangered at the time, no. But there's this little ice age had happened, and so the forests that were growing during that time, the trees grew differently. Right.
Okay.
This is back in 1700s. Right. So that can't be reproduced again, because you're talking about massive climate change around the world, that we're not going to have a mini ice age again for a while. It's just not going to happen. So those trees are gone, and they were turned into things like Stradivari, and they sell for tremendous amounts of money.
Well, I think also as well, like probably what added to this value is I'm sure that violin itself was performed by many, many very famous musicians.
Yeah.
And I suppose it has that legacy with it as well. But I mean, like the Stradivarian violins and instruments in general are stunning, and as you said, the timbre that's produced by them is stunning. But like obviously they're becoming rarer now, and the value are just becoming exponentially more
Well, certainly
expensive.
rarer in public, right? I
Yeah.
mean, who knows how many there actually are? But that's actually an interesting point that you raised, because we talk a lot about this idea of the aura that gets attached by the maker. And something like an instrument like this, where literally the best of the best would have been playing them for generation after generation, going back hundreds of years. I think it makes them special. I would like to think they actually do pick up a certain kind of magic as a result. Not just the wood, but also the people that have put their energy into it. Call me a crazy old man if you want, Eamon, but I do think that that's possible.
I do too. I know. In fairness, I'm in love with classical music, so I totally understand, and I have a great appreciation for the craftsmanship that goes into the creation of these instruments, and you can totally hear the difference between the sounds between them. But it's like it's a lot of money for an instrument.
How much would you pay, Amy? How much would you pay for an instrument?
I don't even know the difference between them.
Oh dear.
So was it bought by a private collector or by right?
Yeah.
So this person has this amount of money, wanted to buy a violin. Can they even play it, or are they just staring at it, being like, "Yeah, I got me some rare violin."
Well, what's crazy
You want
about
to come
this
round
is
to my place, see my rare violin?
it was bought by an individual, but it was actually consigned by the New England Conservatory. So this had been an institutionally owned piece, which is probably why it actually ends up at auction, right? Because institutions run out of money and they got to find a way to generate money. So they sell an artwork, or in this case, they sell a Stradivari, and someone will buy it, and it'll probably never be seen again in public.
They really cashed in there, didn't they? I wonder. Would they actually allow someone to play it? I'm sure they would. I'm sure people would be able to play that if I don't know, somebody would give them the permission to do so.
I don't know. I've seen them
like peasant boy, play my violin.
I've seen them loaned out. I have seen them loaned out, right? When someone like a very famous artist is playing for a very famous, for a special kind of occasion, then they always mention this is loaned out by so-and-so, right? I think that's part of the deal. I want my name associated with this, right? I think all people with money, when they give it, they want their name attached. And of course, if I had the money, my name would never be attached, and I would just give it, and you'd never know. But that's why I don't have money, right? Like how I approach this is very different than the way the rich do.
In fairness, there are philanthropists who do act like that. There are people who like to remain anonymous, and they're kind of like, well, for fear that somebody will be hitting them up looking for more money or donations. But in
the world today, if you go looking, everything is named, right? It's named for someone who gave money, and so that's what the majority of people want. They want their name associated, and they want to have the clout that comes with it.
They do.
I have no clout, so it's real easy for me.
Well, that was a great story, and now that tea is spilt, and we'll move swiftly into our little break now, where we will talk about Nua Collective for just a moment. So we'll be right back after these messages. Nua Collective, an arts community collective with art artists and art publications with fresh work, news and updates added weekly to our online collection at www.nuacollective.com. Here you will find also at our Nua Journal featuring articles and podcasts, which are also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss us out spilling the RT in our weekly roundups every Monday.
And what are they supposed to do, Eamon?
They're supposed to like, share, subscribe, bam, 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 bing, bang, bong. Get it into your feed. Follow. Get everybody to come and watch it. Get 3 people to come and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Not on Xbox. We're not on X anymore. We're avoiding it. We're going away from that platform. We're not here for it. We're not here for you, Elon.
Were we ever on Xbox?
We are...
You said Xbox. Were we ever
whatever. You know what I mean. Xbox, X, Twitter, whatever. They're all the same.
I thought that was a deliberate kind of boycotting. Like I won't even name it. I'm just going to call it something else.
I'm going to call it Xbox. I don't know. Is Xbox a social platform? Can I get on that?
Proudly never on Xbox.
Nua Collective now create games. We are now a game studio.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So yeah, do like, share, subscribe. Bing bang bong.
Yep.
Oh, and also,
Do it.
if you would like to be a guest on New Collective Spill the RT, feel free to get in touch through this very address at info@newcollective.com.
You can do it, folks.
You can do it.
Do it.
You can do
We
it.
don't bite.
We
just
don't. We
mock.
don't. And if you're not an artist but just like to have, like, the gift of the gob, and you'd want to just come on and share your views and opinions on some of the art stories that we bring every week, then feel free to come on board. We'll welcome you with open arms. Virtually.
Moving on now.
Moving on. And there was a little bit of a null silence. And on to our next story. Now, actually,
Yes.
we are going on to quite the serious story.
Well,
things are
so
changing in America.
I paired this with the final story about Dame Edna to prove a point, right? Like there's an actual logic here, right? Because in America, as we all know, we're under the orange turd at the moment. And for some reason now, the 0.1% of the population that's decided to call itself transgender, they're now verboten. They don't exist. They've never been here. It never happened. It's infuriating simply because I don't really care what your political stance is necessarily, right? Although anyone who's a Nazi, I kind of have a problem with. But nonetheless, when you try to like erase history, so what happened is Stonewall is a very famous monument now in Greenwich Village. At the time, it was a bar, and it's where a riot took place in 1969 and really started the beginnings of pushback against what had become, even in a place like New York City, like a real choking down of people's ability to live how they want to live. Right? Like I'm a total libertarian. I don't care what you do, just stay the hell away from me. That's how I try to live my life. Right. And so when you try to erase history like this, I think it really is something that we have to make. We normally don't go in this direction, but I couldn't not. Like, how do you do this? It's part of actual history. It's how we live today as a result of this. And that is just infuriating to me. Sorry, but I just couldn't.
It is entirely infuriating, and I included the image of the statuettes that are outside the Stonewall, which is a really beautiful representation of what happened during those events, and also I think the depiction of companionship that's there without being too in your face is so it's so what we're trying to say as an LGBTQ plus community, and I think that's something that is being stripped away at the moment by
and we always talk about that we don't like to punch down, we like to punch up. And so from my perspective, this is a way of punching back up for people who can't punch back.
Absolutely. It's a tough one, because I mean it's just with one person's decision that all of this has just changed.
It's out of Orwell, right? You need something to be the focus of the daily hate.
Yes.
Here's the 2-minute hate. There you go.
Yeah.
Pick on people who really aren't interested in punching back at all and just want to live their lives. It's just unmet so many different levels, absolutely infuriating. Yeah. What do you think, Amy?
I just every day I wake up and there's something new that is just like, why is this happening? Why are these things why are rights being taken away from people? That it's just.
Yep.
I think I watched an interview with Billy Porter, who's this great icon in. He was in that TV show Pose. I don't know if you ever saw Pose.
He's currently on the West End in Cabaret.
And he just goes, just leave me alone. What is my decision? How do my decisions affect your
life?
Your world?
Absolutely.
He just goes, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just like, you hear about these statistics which are completely made up and lies that are made up. It's like, and they're taking these rights away, but they're not. In Northern Ireland, Stormont has taken has basically passed a point where you cannot get hormone blockers under the age of 8, and it's just like, it's shocking. Really, it's infuriating that this is everything's just gone so right, so fast. I don't know what happened where it's all just gone this direction.
Well,
so
I
fast.
think, but attempting something like this will automatically produce a reaction, right? And that's the key thing. Is I actually would prefer my Nazis out in public and telling me exactly what they think and what they want, because I can actively push against. And right? When they were spending decades of time with their head ducked down, that's not. You can't fight a ghost in that way. So I say absolutely, because the snapback that happens as a result is going to crush them. It has in the past, it will again. My concern is always who has to pay the price along the way.
It's very sad, and I think Billy Porter said it very. I think that's a really good example, Amy. It's right. It's like most of these people are most of. I think anybody wants, everybody and anybody wants who would be in a, who would be potentially considered in a minority group, would, all they want to do is live their life. They don't want to be
the actual thing the people that do this say they're doing. Yeah. Right?
It's just as well, I think, because gender is so ingrained within our culture as well. We've been just so deeply indoctrinated with this idea of gender is two things. Yeah. It's male and female, and there will be no in between, and there is no other. And then, obviously, in recent years, this is just sort of, it's always been there. There has always been people who are gay, lesbian, transsexuals. They've always existed.
Yeah.
And it's, I think in recent years it's because it's so more openly talked about, and people, because the gender has been ingrained so much, and it only is these two, and people are scared, and when people are scared of something they don't understand, they attack.
Of course.
So let's go in a different direction, flipping over this, because Dame Edna, for those that don't know, actually Barry Humphries, but Dame Edna was the persona that was played for decades, all throughout the Thatcher years, right? That's what I'm saying, that like the right wing can try, but guess what? You don't really win. And in the end of the day, Dame Edna's estate sold for more than £4.6 million.
Wow.
Like the glasses were £36,000. Like everything that was about that persona was about being who exactly he wanted to be, right? Like that's, and guess what? You can make money, you can be who you are, and in the end, you die, and then they sell your stuff. But that happens for all of us.
That's what it does. No matter who or what we are, we, at the end of the day, we all end up in one place, in the ground.
But just to think that size of a state, of like all the things that have been amassed and all the various costumes and everything, everybody just wanted it. It got bought.
Yeah.
Right? To me, that's the proof. Like, if you're a pariah and no one cares about you, your estate doesn't sell for almost £5 million. That's not how that works.
Yeah. It's actually really good to flip the story that way, and I think to highlight that there's a lot of people that have a lot of regard for everyone, and that don't have brackets around certain people or certain groups, and it's invigorating, I think, to those who are struggling with the decisions that are being made right now. I think it should be, look at this and look at where things, what a lot of people think of everybody and how people can be so equal, and so respectful of everybody's wishes, and that there is the potential that's there.
Cheers to Dame Edna.
Cheers to Dame Edna. Here we go. We salute you, Dame Edna.
We do. Come on. She was funny as hell. Come on.
She was. But it also goes to show that it's like, no matter who or what I am personally, I'm still very funny. And you come to me and you come and listen to me because I'm fabulous. And that's it.
That's why. Because you are a funny, fabulous man, Amy.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Dame Edna. That wasn't a self...
I think when you're editing this episode, I think you're going to see you sounded like you were talking about yourself.
I wasn't. I really wasn't. But I'm glad that please don't rewind 30 seconds. I am talking about how amazing Dame Edna is and how fabulous she was. Yes.
I have some great memories.
No, what?
Of Dame Edna?
I was I remember very young, every kind of Saturday night watching Dame Edna on TV. I was probably too young to be watching it, but left unsupervised watching. I remember there was one episode involved liposuction. That was fun.
Oh dear! Wow. Okay. How old were you then?
I was very young. It was maybe 6, 7. I'd be like, what the hell?
That's a great age to start learning about liposuction.
It was It was a different time.
It was a different time. We were a much more tolerant society in the 90s. Okay. Right. Well, speaking of tolerance and you, Amy, we're now going to talk a little bit about yourself. So, tell us, where are you based? What sort of work do you work on? And what's going on in the art practice of Amy Devlin?
So, hi.
Hi.
Hi. So I am a Belfast-based artist. I'm currently sitting in my art space, my art studio at the moment. I've blurred it out because it is such a messy space. I work in a very cluttered environment, magazines everywhere, and I hoard things that I always think will be useful. So I work in collage, handmade collage, and this is by choice. It's, of course, there's the other flip side of it where I cannot work Photoshop, or I just don't have the patience for it. Photoshop, maybe. But I work very instinctively. I never start out with an idea of how my work is going to look. Everything is very spontaneous. So I might see an image I like and then sort of work from there, taking bits and pieces from anywhere else and just seeing how it turns out. And sometimes it turns out great, sometimes not. But this is how we learn. Yes. I've also done stop motion in the past. Not so much lately because it was life in general, because stop motion is such a slow process as well.
Yeah.
I have a video that's 6 minutes long, and that took like 4 months to make, just about 6 minute footage. But I'm also working on branching out into more sculptural work, as you can probably see. Just transforming the collage and taking it from page and making it 3D.
Very cool, very cool. These are two pieces here that you've shared with us. Do you want to describe what this one is about?
So a lot of the themes I work in is about consumerism and feminism, specifically about how, because I work with a lot of vintage magazines as well, and it's a bit of a response to how I saw the female form being used to sell products, and how basically they're portrayed as within two categories. You have the housewife, and then you definitely have like the sex object. One is stay at home, the nurturer, and then the other one is the visually appealing to a male audience and aspiring to a female audience. So basically, this is portraying like how women should be within our society. But this one particularly is because I was inspired a lot by like weathered billboards. Because I have this billboard near my house and it's just left, and you have all this layering happening on it, and it's really nice. I just love this like layering, and like, so what I'll do is sometimes I'll make a collage and then sometimes I'll just scrape away, and then maybe I'll build it back up and scrape away again, just to create different different depths and different textures to each piece. So it's not just flat. You've kind of got different things coming through.
Yeah.
Well, it's a way of physicalizing time, right? It's a very interesting kind of technique.
Yeah. Just kind of like, because it's almost like with this piece, I kind of scraped away and then I would dig into the wood as well. So you can kind of have this sense of like, you have like adverts on that work where it's basically showing these nice shiny new like objects like ovens and stuff, but then you have this kind of decay happening to it as well.
Yeah, very cool. I like that. I like how as Josh has suggested that it does show that durational aspect to it, and that it has a history, and that they come through, and yet it's kind of like it's very reminiscent of what you're talking about conceptually. As well, which is really cool. And this piece that we have here then as well, which is it's slightly a collage, but it's also kind of like mixed media, and that and there's quite a bit of text in there too. What is text a big part of your practice?
I think so, because I work with adverts as well. I think slogans and something like that, it kind of comes together with the image as well, because the image says 1,000 words, but it's nothing without this tagline about basically telling you how you cannot live without this this thing, you have to have it in your life. So basically, hang on to everything you have. Well, this was just basically a response to well, I think how the world is going. This was basically made at the start of the cost of living crisis as well, where everything's price. But actually, this work ties in well with the Picasso one, because this is actually an old work. Because I was talking about how like I'll read works. So this was actually a print of a work I did at university, and I just sort of tore it. Again, sort of having that thing where it's like decay, time has sort of made it weathered, then paint and scratching it off as well to kind of show the wood underneath, and scratching up the wood, showing the different layers there as well. And there's different bits of adverts stuck on there. And then there's also like graffitied, like I'll write words on it as well, just that I feel in the moment.
Yeah.
Like boring, or this is shit, or just stuff that maybe I'll feel at the time. I'll just write it on.
Very cool. And the final two pieces that we have here from you as well are more specifically collage pieces that you've showcased with us. Would you like to have a couple of words about these?
Yeah, so that's another reworked piece as well. This piece was inspired by like Martha Rosberg and Linda Sterling. This is taken from an old, because this is like a scene from an old porno magazine, which I have an array of. You can get them quite cheap on Amazon or eBay. But this is like basically, again, so I'll take the housewife. I think in the other two works, that's sort of like a view from the housewife, because there are women in those pieces as well, where it's like the housewife aspect. This is like the sex object aspect I was talking about. And again, it's just, yeah, and how basically her body, well, her vagina is basically covered with this washing machine. And then again, you've kind of got different just different layers of work put on there, different parts of the magazine, articles and everything. And again, just sort of scraped away, and then automatic drawing over it as well. And then just different layers.
We have and the final piece that we have to share is this piece, which is like it's great to see the time difference between like the sculptural and then the female iconography that's here, as well as the objectivity that you'd get from the porn magazines.
Yeah. This is actually, so I have like a smaller sketchbook, and sometimes I'll just use things that are just in front of me, because as I say, I live in a very chaotic, like magazines screwed everywhere, and I have like maybe images I've cut out before, and I won't use them, and I'll put them to the side. So sometimes I'll just make cards with scraps that are just in front of me. So
that's
this
great,
is actually,
because something can come from nothing then, really, isn't it? It's kind of great how that happens.
Yeah. So this is a photo of a statue I took so I took a photo. It was in a museum. It's very typical sort of Greek statue, and then there's like the eyes and the mouth are taken from photographs of like a Barbie.
Oh.
And yeah, there's automatic drawing in there. There's just bits of scrap put together. And I sort of like how like it's framed as well. There's like a frame around the figure as well.
Very cool. Love that. Super. Nice. Amy, you've got some great diversity in your work, and there's lots of different things that are going on, and it's really exciting to see the different elements of your practice. It's very cool. So thank you for sharing that with us. We really appreciate that. So thank you. And we are delighted to say also that Amy is becoming a member of Nua Collective. So you will see more of Amy on the Nua Collective website in the coming weeks when we put her profile together, and we will share lots of her different works up there too. So stay tuned for that release. That'll be very exciting. So Amy, we're very excited about that.
But that means you got to go to the Nua website, folks.
Yes,
See
it
that?
is. So hit us up at www.nuacollective.com right now and have a look at all the different works, and have a look at all of our different artists and what's potentially going to come up very, very soon, because we have lots of plans in place for Nua Collective 2K25. So Yes, get in there, and we will be announcing lots of those sort of things very soon. So stay tuned to our social media platforms where you will see the shorts from all of our episodes of Spill the RT, as well as Cross the Line with Ben. So make sure that you do check those out, have a bit of a laugh, and also stay informed with all of our fabulous art-related activities. Josh, what are people to do, our guests and our followers?
Smash that like button, subscribe, send to 3 friends, buy some swag, go on the website, send us a message, leave a comment.
Swag,
do
you say? Bring in some swag. We love the swag. Look at all the swag we got. We've got hats. We've got tote bags. We've got mugs. We've got t-shirts. Have you got FOMA, Amy? Have you ever had FOMA? No, never. Have you ever had FOMA?
Fear of missing art.
Oh dear, oh dear. That's just not catching on, Josh. I thought I was a genius, but anyway, clearly I'm not.
I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't, but I didn't want to step on it. So, well, sometimes stuff.
I'm such a flop in life. I'm such a flop.
Who are you now?
Oh, poor Eamon.
Somebody should get that Stradivarius violin and play me a few tunes.
That's exactly right. Anyhow, we're getting out of here, folks.
We're getting out of here.
Thanks for
That's all we have time for, folks, but we will see you every Monday. As usual, next Monday we'll be back with a brand new guest and lots of new stories. So until then, see you and have a great week. Bye.
Bye.